The links to join the channel here are over at Subscribestar. Thanks to everyone over there, especially Vegan for the comics, the pocket knives, and someone who sent me dill seeds for next season. So Sound of Freedom, interesting flex. When the media defends Epstein type of stuff, euphemism for the YouTubers, because the wrong people are against Epstein. Those evil MAGA types, they want to stop people from grooming kids. Yeah, aren't we all in agreement on that? Can't we put aside some petty squabbles and say we're all in agreement? No, because if the right is for something, then the left has to like take a reactionary position to it. Honestly, it's what has been done to feminism. I feel like the counter ops to feminism has just been some kind of psychological experiment to see how you can turn feminists from being anti-prawn in like 20 years to proudly being ladies of negotiable affection. In just 20 years, you managed to get them to split 180 degrees, and you look at them like, that's a pretty big amount of brainwashing. If you can get women to be anti the exploitation of women, this is like just 20 years ago. It might even have been less, and turn it around so where women openly support it. And you look at them like, you guys don't have any dogma. You don't have any core beliefs at all. You'll just do whatever people tell you to do if you're manipulated the right way. And you look at feminism now, it's like, if they're honest with themselves, they go, oh, what do we believe in? We believe in whatever the right doesn't believe in. If they want us to get married, have kids, and like live a happy, healthy life and maintain a healthy weight and not do drugs, it's like, oh, we're in the opposite of that. Slut walk, give me some STDs and marching powder. Like, it's like, you just really are the useful idiots of the world. Anyway, so Sound of Freedom, movie about these Epstein types of things. So that'll be the euphemism I use for this. The Epsteins, and then the conspiracy type thing. What is it? Between the LMNOP blank R. For the R-anon type of conspiracy theory, which, don't get me wrong, is pretty silly. You get a source of information that really looks like a copium-controlled ops, spy versus spy way to manipulate people. I mean, like, where you gonna wear your skepticism hat? Ask for a little bit of scientific method. Is it trustworthy? Is it repeatable? Or are you just gonna blindly believe something because it tells you what you want? Like, there's right-wing BS. If you're on the right wing, you should be asking for facts and evidence and sources, just like for anything else. Just because if it's telling you what you think you want to hear, then you should be looking at sources even more strenuously, because you're probably being manipulated. Anyway, people, I don't know why people fall for cults or guru. I mean, it's like, because there's like a social contagion going on now. If people make claims, you can just investigate them. I make no claims. Send me pocket knives, cool pocket knives in the mail. So if this R source, this R-anon source is like, does it seem like some kind of classic Mossad psyop? Because doesn't Mossad literally, someone points out that Mossad literally had a history of doing something very similar to this R-anon thing, and people go, oh well, I'm sure they wouldn't do it again. Like, I'm not saying it's them. It's like, it could be Russia, it could be China, it could be anything. It's like, kind of seems like a hostile foreign interest doing something like this because they've done it before. Whatever. So you have this low budget film, Sound of Freedom, about this Epstein type of stuff and the efforts made to stop it. One would assume, oh, you sweet summer child, that everyone would be on board stopping the exploitation of children. Everyone is. Well, I mean, except for the media and government. It seems weird that their coverage of the Maxwell, Epstein type of stuff has been really light, like almost non-existent light. Is it? I mean, at some point, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like even in the legislative, they haven't really done a whole lot of deep dives into this kind of stuff. It's like it happened and it just kind of disappeared. It's weird that Allison Nathan, the judge for one of those cases, was later appointed to the Federal Court of Appeals for her district by Biden, and she actually, I guess, redacted some of the testimony in the case for some reason, which later came out, and it's fascinating testimony what the witnesses were talking about. It's weird that Allison Nathan didn't allow that the light of day. Anyway, so the media and the government are the same people who are on those Mossad blackmail ops videos. I mean, that would be a logical conclusion as to why it just never got talked about. It's why people say that the politicians are more often pre-selected for their blackmail susceptibility. It kind of has to do with who's that girl that Alyssa Milano. I know I've mentioned this 1,000 times, but it's kind of critical. Alyssa Milano with the hashtag Me Too type of thing, and it got some traction. And it started out, and then they look at it like, yeah, 90+% of the people who are getting busted in Me Too are left wing Hollywood types or donors to Hollywood. The Kevin Spacey, the Weinstein types, and the guy, just tons of other people. And they're all left wing Hollywood types because everyone in Hollywood is going to be left wing, or they're DNC donors, or they're literally in the who's that Frankfurt guy, the Franks guy, I think he was a comedian for Saturday Night Live and then went to Congress. Like, these are all obviously hashtag Me Too. You're obviously going to get left wing people in Hollywood, and left wing people are in general more openly degenerate and perverted. So you're going to get like politicians too, and donors, and Oprah Winfrey types, presenting the little blonde girl to Weinstein. And so what happened to hashtag Me Too with Alyssa Milano? Oh, it just disappeared because it was a self-own, a self-goal. And they're like, yeah, but don't you want to clean up your own party? It's like, get these guys out. And they look at it like, you don't understand. It's like 75% of the wealthy, powerful people in the left-wing party. Well, then why are you still in the left-wing party? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So, plot twist, the media and the government were the bad guys the whole time. Shocking, I know. Who could have seen that one coming, except for Ray Charles? So there are some articles that this film, the Freedom Sound thing, did better than expected. Maybe a little bit better, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is way too dark and heavy a film to ever be a hit. And for much of the movie-going population, the left wing is more into cuties Netflix type of movies. It seems like there's a lot of people on the left who are really into kids. The South Park meme, the Simpsons meme, tapping the thing. It's like they really just, this is what they're into for some reason. So I know it's a critically important topic, but most people are just not able to stare into the abyss. This kind of stuff is way too dark. You got to know your limitations. And funny thing is, you want to know the lay of the land. Look at the videos that YouTube promotes, or any platform, like what's allowed on the platform. If you want to know what kind of video topics that Google doesn't want on its platform, you can see where the results lie on something. And as it turns out, I know this is weird, it's going to be hard to believe, that anything dealing with Epstein Maxwell type of stuff is not cool for Google for some wacky reason. And no, it's not because they want a family-friendly environment, because there are videos on YouTube about how to lube up your back hole for a gangbang so you don't poop all over your husband, and BDSM stuff, and just the most graphic, horrific type of things. So that's not the reason. It's where, one time YouTube had some videos where it's like children's programming had some BDSM themes for these children's programming, and that was only a couple years ago, and it was on YouTube for a long time. And it just kind of flew under the radar. Kind of just weird, with the biggest video platform on earth, and that some of those children's videos were up for a long time. Anyway, Google doesn't want you to cover some things on its platform, so you got to tread lightly. Almost all the hey, there's your sacrifice to Moloch. Almost all the Isaac Cappy videos have been deleted by YouTube. It's weird because YouTube is a trip, because the stuff just disappears. I mean, there's a whole bunches of videos and series and topics on YouTube where the information, that is apropos. What a perfect, I don't know if that's supposed to be Moloch, but what a perfect image. Anyway, so for some reason, this area, this Protect the Kids, this anti-Epstein stuff, is not just seen as right-wing values, but it's actually seen as far right-wing values. And something to do, with the Italian food thing that was coming out with those politicians and their handlers, and the building that had a first floor that was below ground, so they treated it as a basement. So the second floor is the first floor, and they go, oh well, see, they got one little aspect wrong. It's like, yeah, but that's not how it was like the sidewalk was an elevated sidewalk. So anyway, the furniture company, this just came out I think last year, that was selling cabinets with really weird descriptions and for large amounts of money. Like one cabinet, piece of furniture would have been like a $3,000 couch or something, and then they go, oh no, this is actually $30,000, and here's this weird description for it. You're like, I'm not saying it's those under the age of consent. The thing could have some marching powder, something. I'm saying you're selling something else. Obviously that's contraband. Or the Balenciaga ads, Ball. I mean, what a fascinating. There's like many ways to interpret that, with literally BDSM themes and children's present. Like that actually just happened last year, and that just got kind of swept under the rug. It's weird. It's weird, the things that just disappear. The media doesn't doesn't breathe life into some things. Or the Schiff, Abramovic, Wiener stuff, the Podesta type of stuff. I mean, you're going back a few years, but it's all connected to the same left-wing, powerful politicians, the Washington machine, and the Hollywood types. It's all the same kind of thing, all the same people connected. And the weird thing is that this abuse is all actually happening. People are getting arrested for it, sometimes more than once. A lot of these people literally have criminal records and restraining orders for this type of stuff, but the left still thinks it's overblown, even when it's all like literally happening, and they still want to brush it under the rug because they think it's a right versus left issue. Which is, if you're on the left, you ask yourself, so wait a minute, if I'm on the left and our side seems to be the side that's on board with this kind of stuff, either we need to change the left or you're going to have to leave the left and become something else, because you can't be on the side that's doing this stuff to kids. I mean, unless you believe that. I mean, that's the side of evil. What else is there other than that? That's like, yeah, that's a sacrifice to an unholy deity. Anyway, so they've got this mental block because the right is against hurting kids, so the left is basically supporting grooming to own the right and to be diverse and inclusive. They have painted themselves into this really bizarre corner. I don't know if this is too much for you two. I don't know if the hot words will be triggered by the algorithm or what. So the left-wing media and social media won't cover it. In fact, they shifted the narrative to where we are now, where protecting kids is what the evil Hugo Boss MAGA types. That's like right-wing values. And grooming kids and drag kids and trans kids and story hour with the half-naked men, those are left-wing values. If I'm on the left wing, I'm looking around like, oh, I guess I'm not on the left wing anymore, because that's like you lose your soul if you're aligned with that kind of stuff. Those are left-wing values, which is eventually going to lead to, like, where do you think sexualizing kids leads to? They just keep, they normalize stuff. Like, that's what the Balenciaga type of ads are for, to normalize things, to get you more and more comfortable. That's what Cuties was for. Cuties wasn't about cuties. It was about normalizing the concept of viewing kids in a different way. Hollywood can normalize almost anything. When you have the media machine on your side, you can normalize almost anything. And they're very much trying to do this kind of thing. Anyway, so the left is kind of slowly becoming these values of the left wing. Think about this. Their argument is that kids under the age of consent who don't have the maturity to consent to, acts with adults of a prurient interest type of things, they're simultaneously able to consent to permanently disfiguring chemicals and then surgery that prohibits their ability to create offspring. That doesn't make sense. If you can't render effective consent because you don't have the emotional maturity or the brain development in one regard, then you can't render it in either regard. So eventually they're not gonna go backwards and make that stuff illegal. They're gonna go in the opposite direction of logic and reason, and take the next step and reach the conclusion that children who can't consent by law to acts with adults should be able to consent by law to those acts with adults. And if the parents disagree, the child must be taken away and remanded to the custody of the court or some kind of a guardian, something like that, or maybe even given to their abuser. I swear to you that this is all coming. And most people won't care, because that time the frog has been boiled so slowly that people will have lost the will to fight this stuff. The president right now, the guy who fears stairs, supports sterilizing children. I mean, like, whatever people tell him to say, he says. I honestly, it seems like he has a brain chip that's being controlled by someone. Yeah, obviously this is not a country that's going to remain a country for long. I mean, you can't have groups with irreconcilable differences this extreme and think, yeah, this is going to work out. Definitely not, which is, why you want to stock up. Anyway, so a movie against this Epstein type of stuff is obviously a right-wing dog whistle. And yeah, that's fine. It's great that this is what you want to make the binary, where the right wing is on the side of protecting kids and the left wing is on the side of turning kids into catamites. That's the hill you want to die on. Great, challenge accepted. I mean, it's like, what are these San Francisco's fart huffing liberals? Are they really so out of their mind that they think people, even on the left, are going to be on board with doing this stuff to kids? Like, there's a lot of normie people on the left right now who are hoping that somebody else steps up and stops what's going on. they don't want to do it because they don't want to get canceled. So it's kind of game theory 101 where you want one person to sacrifice so everyone benefits. That's kind of where we are now with a lot of the stuff that's going on, because you see what happens when somebody does raise their head and start, talking against this kind of stuff. It's like the whole machine goes after them because the machine wants the country to go in this direction, this Sodom and Gomorrah type of direction. Anyway, I don't know if this is. I don't even know. It's just kind of a heavy topic for you two. I mean, the whole Sound of Freedom thing is a freaking horrific concept. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to Vegan LG and everyone else over there, and I'll see you guys on next episode.